African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command and combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of March 21, 2026. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. Units of the North Group of Forces improved the situation along the front line. Losses were inflicted on the manpower and hardware of 1 mechanized brigade, 1 airmobile brigade, 1 air assault brigade, 1 assault regiment of the armed forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades near Potapovka, Novaya Sek, and Miropoli in the Sumy region. In Kharkov region, losses were inflicted on units of 3 mechanized brigades, 1 motorized infantry brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine, and 1 territorial defense brigade near Chuguyev, Peshenoye, Kolodeznoye, and Izbitskoye in the Kharkov region. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to up to 220 troops, 8 motor vehicles, and 1 US-made 155mm M113 howitzer. In addition, 2 materiel depots were destroyed. Units of the West Group of Forces improved the tactical situation. Losses were inflicted on the manpower and hardware of 2 mechanized brigades, 1 assault brigade, and 1 territorial defense brigade near Novosinovo, Borovaya, Shikovka in the Kharkiv region, Svyatogorsk, Krasny Liman in the Donetsk People's Republic. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to more than 180 troops, 1 tank, 4 armored fighting vehicles, including 2 Western-made samples. In addition, 25 motor vehicles and 2 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the South Group of Forces took more advantageous lines and positions. Losses were inflicted on formations of 4 mechanized brigades, 1 airmobile brigade, and 1 mountain assault brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine near Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, Krivaya Luka, Ilyanovka, Artem, and Konstantinovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to up to 190 troops, 7 armored fighting vehicles, including 1 German-made Marder infantry fighting vehicle, and 1 US-made M113 armored personnel carrier. Moreover, 10 motor vehicles, 3 field artillery guns, 2 electronic warfare stations, 1 ammunition depot, and 2 materiel depots were destroyed. Units of the Center Group of Forces improved the situation along the front line. Losses were inflicted on the manpower and hardware of 3 mechanized brigades, 1 infantry brigade, 1 airborne brigade, 1 assault brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine, 1 marine brigade, and 2 National Guard brigades near Belitskoye, Grishino, Dobropolye, Krasnoyarskoye, Rayskoye, Kutuzovka in the Donetsk People's Republic, and Novopodgorodnoye in the Dnepropetrovsk region. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to more than 370 troops, 11 armored fighting vehicles, 24 motor vehicles, 7 field artillery guns, including 2 US-made 155mm M777 howitzers, 2 electronic warfare stations, and 2 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the East Group of Forces advanced into the depths of enemy defenses. Losses were inflicted on formations of 1 mechanized brigade, 2 air assault brigades, 2 assault brigades, and 5 assault regiments of the armed forces of Ukraine near Boykovo, Lesnoye, Chervony Yar, Kievskoye, Dolinka, and Vozdvizhevka in the Zaporozhye region. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to more than 305 troops, 3 armored fighting vehicles, 7 motor vehicles, 1 electronic warfare station, and 1 materiel depot. Units of the Dnieper Group of Forces inflicted losses on manpower and hardware of 1 mechanized brigade, 1 motorized infantry brigade, and 1 mountain assault brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine near Orekov, Preobrazhenka, Kamishevaka, and Zaporozhets in the Zaporozhye region. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to up to 45 troops, 5 motor vehicles, 4 electronic warfare stations, and 1 materiel depot. Operational tactical aviation, attack unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops and artillery of the Russian groups of forces, struck power and transport infrastructure objects used by the armed forces of Ukraine, UAV control posts, as well as temporary deployment areas of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 137 areas. Air defense units shot down 9 guided aerial bombs and 668 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles.
In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the enemy has lost 671 aircraft, 284 helicopters, 125,893 unmanned aerial vehicles, 652 anti-aircraft missile systems, 28,392 tanks and other armored fighting vehicles, 1,690 MLRS combat vehicles, 33,982 field artillery guns and mortars, 57,407 units of support military vehicles.
Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.